Okay, we're in section 9.4.1, and this is the related Sage code. All right. So, kind of looking at that, again, I want to emphasize that you can go to the Sage Math website. This is interactive. You do the co-calc sheet. It's really the same thing, but I'm using my computer to do the computation. All right. So someone says it's way too much code for me to type in. We don't mind you copy pasting, but part of your learning process is just simply learning to type. No, you can't get a job typing anymore. I don't think so. If you can't get a job typing, it's not going to pay well. All right. All right. I think I did all right. Reset. I've been doing this for some time, haven't I? Defining X as a variable. I'm getting a little tired. I'm going to copy paste this guy. Now, again, I want to say I actually typed up your entire set of notes. I do this for Math 100, 119, 120, 121, and 122. I also make sure that my students in Math 100, Math 119, Math 120, Math 121, and Math 122 are familiar with the computer algebra system. Although not required, I have a responsibility to educate those students that want to be educated and move forward. What does that mean? Introducing them to concepts that they may not be comfortable with. All right. Now, I have to be honest with you, a real education, most of the concepts you're going to be given, you're not going to be comfortable with. And why is that? You're in learning mode. You're in panic mode. You're in the mode where you're really not sure what's going to happen. All right. So anyway, what I do, I copy paste it, something I typed a long time ago. And I now know that f of x been assigned that polynomial function. I'm sorry, a rational function. When were rational functions covered? Well, going back to Math 192, when were they sort of analyzed? When you got to Math 119. So I'll type the next x. And that's a really easy line to type in there. And I get that. I'll be honest with you, it looks, I've never seen anything that bad in Math 119. That can't be the right picture. All right. By the way, it is a picture. It's just not the picture I wanted. All right. Let me go back to that. It's a picture. It's not the picture I wanted. It's a picture. It's a picture that I don't want. And I'll tell you what happens over here. It kind of got, if you look at the scale of this thing, this is outrageous. A scale like that. You would never see that in a class like Math 119. Now, someone says, why is that? Well, there's asymptotic behavior. These things are blowing up in both directions, by the way. So what I want to do is I want to change the viewing perspective on it. I'm going to copy this in. You've done this in Math 119. That looks a little better to me. I notice over here there's artifacts in the picture. And it's these vertical lines over here. They're actually asymptotes. I don't like the way they look though. So let's do the next thing. And there's going to be a problem with my copy paste. I know I say this a lot to you. Don't be discouraged when there's a problem. There was an error, right? It's actually pointing out the error is. What's the error? The error is in the quote marks. And the quote mark, it should be not that slanted quote mark, but a straight up. So show, right? Let's see what happens over here. Well, you know what? That's a better picture for me. It's more in line with what I've seen in Math 119. What are they doing? They took care of those artifacts and they put dotted lines in. So now I kind of learned, I learned something. I learned how could I graph something that I did in 119 using Sage. And this is something in 119. The only thing that's really missing over here is, I'm not really seeing the horizontal asymptotes, but maybe I'm not too concerned about this at this point. Let's keep going. And I guess this would give me horizontal, right? Put that down. It says it's minus 9 over 11. Well, you actually did that in Math 119. Let's go to minus infinity. And I want to use a different symbol for that, minus OO. In Sage, they do some kind of tricky things. I don't like it, by the way, but that's also look like minus infinity. And that's minus OO, by the way. Minus 9/11s, same thing. All right, same thing. All right, same exact thing. You know what I want to do? I want to take that graph that we just did before, and I'm going to do a listing over here. Oops. I did it again, sorry. Okay. So I'm going to graph f of x, and I'm going to graph a line minus 9/11. And I'm seeing that. I want to point out, that's in green now. You notice that? I want to notice that when I go towards the left and the right, towards plus or minus infinity, the graph starts to look like that line. All right. Now, someone says you're nowhere near infinity or minus infinity. I know that. These things really do go there quickly, though. All right. Let's keep going. And I want to talk about this line over here. And again, we're trying to learn. Someone says, what's that thing there? Well, let me look back over my code and see if I can make any sense of that. And that's like that's 5 minus 3x minus 11x squared. That's actually the denominator. And what's s? S is being assigned the solution to the problem. Like when is it 0? Now, when does it equal 0? That's going to be at the vertical asymptotes. All right, let's take a look at that. So someone says nothing happened. Yes, something happened. But if you type S now, something weird is going to happen. Let me show you what S looks like. It looks like this. And someone says, this looks so strange to me. I have no idea what they're doing. We got to describe it to you. And then we'll go to the next line of code. S has solutions to it. How many? 2. The first solution is written here. And the second solution is written over here. Sage starts counting at 0. So this is considered the first entry, which is 0. This is considered the second entry, which is going to be 1. Let me type that in for you. So S square bracket 0. And again, we're just trying to learn. What did it give back to me? It gave back this one over here. That's all it gave back. Now, if I type S1, it's going to give me the second entry. All right, gave me the second entry over there. All right. So someone says, I wonder what that other thing you have written over there. And what you think I've written out? S0 dot right hand side. Let's talk about that. This is S0. This is the right hand side. I'm expecting to see that now. And I see it. All right. Now, again, don't think this is a memorization skill. This is me reasoning through what I'm reading. Let's do S1, right hand side. You know what? Let's do left hand side. X, kind of expecting that. Let's do right hand side. Okay, let me get what we got over here. This is S1. This is S1 right hand side. Well, I think I did pretty good there. Gave back what I expected. All right. I'm getting those things back. And that's good news, by the way. All right. So let's look at limit. I know this is tough. We'll talk about that in detail. Again, this is not a memorization skill. It's not a memorization skill. Right. These numbers are nasty, by the way. I don't want to have to type these numbers in again. But I want to point out what this thing's doing. It wants the limit of f of x as x approaches S0, right-hand side. What's that? This number over here. Now, by the way, I don't want to type that number in. That's why I wrote the code down here. Direction, right side. Oh, you know what? I got the quote marks again. Sorry about that. That's a big thing of copy paste, by the way. Plus infinity. All right, let's do left now. okay? And you could do the same thing for S1. Now, what's S0? I want to point out what it is. S0 is this number over here, clearly a negative number. I want to go back to the picture and I want to point out what picture we're looking at over here. We're looking at this picture here. All right. So someone says, I wonder where that number is. And let me make sure you know what I'm talking about. It's this line over here. All right. How do I know that? I'm looking at the number and it's, minus something. It's a negative number. And again, this goes back to 119. This is the right side of that number. And the right side of the number, what's it doing? Going towards plus infinity. Let's see if that's true. Right side plus infinity. When you're on the left side of the number, this is the number again over here, it's going to minus infinity. Exactly what they said it is. So I'm starting to learn a different skill set now. What skill set I'm learning now? Well, maybe it's reinforcing what you learned in Math 119, but what am I learning now? I'm learning that, Sage, and again, if you studied prior, we've done this in prior courses as well, but Sage can solve problems now. Even though the numbers are really bad, I can still reference those numbers in my code. All right. Again, we're not asking you to memorize. We're asking you to think. That's what we want to get across to you. We want you to think, and thinking is going to be a really important skill set. Thank you.